Hello, it's Anita, back again with Stamp with Anita. Welcome to the studio. If you're here live, let me know. Give me some hearts, some thumbs up, some likes, comments. I love that. That's always appreciated. Or if you catch this on a replay here on Facebook or after 30 days, it's gone. But I do upload these usually within a few days of recording over onto YouTube. So if you're over here on YouTube, let me know here too. And by the way, if you're on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel. If you like what you see, like, comment, give me some feedback. I'd love that. So, welcome. We're well into December, and I've got all my Christmas up, decorated. I have like virtually nothing as far as Christmas gifts. So, that's not good. That's not good. How many of you are done your holiday shopping? How many of you haven't started? I've just done basically little stocking stuffer things, maybe. I don't even think I have that for everybody, so I'm a little behind. I'm excited to share the last class for the season. It is the Traditions of Christmas, which is going to be focusing on the Traditions of Christmas Suite, which is in the Holiday Mini. Beautiful. Just a reminder to use our idea books, catalogs, idea books as idea books, you know, to jumpstart your creativity, whether you copy it exactly or whether it just gives you a starting point there. It's great for that. Let me go ahead. We'll try this again. I'm going to try to flip the camera down without losing you this time. Looks good, I think. I think we're in the frame here. Shout out if we're not. So, anyway, it's out of this Holiday Mini, and page 21 is where it starts. And again, this is the Traditions of Christmas Suite. And I believe if you go back to Stampin' Up's actual Facebook page, they showed how to make this box, or at least a box similar to that. Just a few days ago, they did a live, and that's Stampin' Up's actual page. But this card might look familiar to you. Let me pull that one over real quick. Right here. So I copied that. It's so pretty. The actual cards in real life are so much more gorgeous than they show in the catalog, even though the catalog's gorgeous. But real life is the way to go. But this starts on page 21, and you'll find it online too under all the suites. This one has two different bundles. I'll share, or I might as well do that now. So it's got two bundles, meaning a stamp set and a die. It contains the Christmas greenery, and it also contains the traditional labels, and we're going to be using both of these bundles. It also includes this awesome folder, which is kind of hard to see. Let's see if I put this underneath here. That light is giving me awful glare, but anyway, that lovely folder. And then it also includes these sequins, which I love because they're flat. They're wonderful. And then the ribbon. Oops. Oh, I keep hitting this. The ribbon, which is kind of shiny on one side. I don't know if you can see that. And then not as shiny on the other side, but it's beautiful, beautiful ribbon. It's nice ribbon to work with. It ties really well. It also includes this beautiful DSP, which I shared the other day. Sorry, I keep hitting this. But let me go ahead and put this down here and just kind of roll through here. Can you see that bling, that foil? In person, it is just gorgeous. It's been probably one of my most favorite DSP that we've ever carried. So, and I love the combination of the traditional red and green along with some of these pinks and blues. I just love it. So that's the DSP. And also, then it just has pages of ideas, which I absolutely love. And let me share this card right here was also my jumping point for one of the cards that we're making. This one. A little different. They used a different banner here. I wanted to use one that was actually in the actual suite itself, so I switched that out, and they colored theirs. I actually stamped, but this big folder, it's huge, so it works great for even like small scrapbook pages. I think there's one more page here. Yeah, right here. So lots of fun, lots of fun. So let's have at it. Let's get started with this. So we're going to start with this card first. Merry and Bright. And it opens like this. I've done this type of fold before. So I'm excited to share that with you. And here's the envelope. So that's the card we're going to start with. I'm just going to set that aside so I have it as a guide. I think I got all my pieces and parts out of my envelope. Now, when the girls came for my class the other night, yesterday, I had two different classes. They got all these make and take packets. They got an entire pack of the DSP, and they got an entire pack of these gems. And we used very little of those pieces, and so they got a lot to take home. I'm going to grab my readers so I can actually see what I'm doing. So we are starting with just a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. So this is just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm using Real Red. And then this piece right here is 3 1/4 by the 8 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. So 3 1/4 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. And I'm just going to fold this in half. Let me grab my bone folder here. There we go. I always like to give it a good crease. And then I had cut strips of red. Again, this is Real Red, and these are 1 inch by 4, and I ran them through the folder. So I just stuck it in the folder, laid the strips down, and then ran it through, and so I've got this beautiful embossing on this. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well the camera picks that up. Maybe that's a little better. There we go. But it's a lovely pattern. Let me go ahead and show you all the pieces and parts, and then we'll get to it. And then I've got a little piece of the red ribbon, and I've got it cut to about 4 inches. These were cut out of the dies, the label dies that went with this bundle. So I cut them out of there. 1 in white and 1 in the Real Red, and obviously we're going to layer those. And then I cut out, this panel is going to go on the inside of the card, and it is just 3 by 4, I believe. Yep, 3 by 4. And then I cut out of the DSP, this one. You could really use any of them. This one's kind of got the blue dot pattern, but this beautiful pattern on the front. And this is 3 by 4. And then the other thing is, out of this die set, there's this ribbon. And so I cut out the ribbon. I stuck them down on a little piece of Post-it note so I wouldn't lose them, little tiny pieces. But they're cut out of the gold foil. So I've got those. I'm going to set these over here so I don't lose them. All right, so those are all my pieces and parts. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with this base, and I'm going to take the 2 side panels. I'm going to apply adhesive, and I'm just going to layer those, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a border, just like, you know, that typical 1/8 inch border around. And then this one, trying to see, really doesn't matter which side you use, but I want kind of the embossing image up, and want to make sure I'm doing the same thing on both sides. So there, and it's just it just gives a little bit of detail on there, which is kind of cool. And then this piece right here, I'm going to go ahead and run the adhesive, and this is just going to layer right, it's going to fit right in the center here, what's left, and I'm going to line it up at the top and the bottom. Let's make sure I've got this in here straight. Oh, it started to stick. There we go. Let's make sure this bottom is straight. I like to kind of test it just to make sure before I press down too hard. And hopefully, if I put those other side panels on straight, we're good to go. Looks like I'm a little crooked. Oh, you know what? My little side panel's a little crooked. There. All right. Because it should nestle right in there perfectly. So there we go. It's going to open up. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to do this backwards. I'm going to go ahead and do this inside. Let's see. We're going to use this image. And I'm going to use Real Red. I'm going to ink this up, and I'm just going to stamp the bottom of this, so it's just like a peak of that coming off the bottom. And let me go ahead and clean that off. Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna be using that on the envelope. Actually, let's go ahead and do that since I've got it out. Oops. See, this is why I need to stamp before. Oh. All right. Well, let's see if I got another envelope over here. Here we go. Well, that didn't take long, did it? All right. So I'm gonna take this. This time I'm just gonna kind of run it up the edge here, this little corner. Isn't that the most beautiful? I just love it. And I think I am going to clean it off now just because I don't trust myself. I've got my chamois. I just put mine in one of our cases, like our old stamp cases. All right, so that's cleaned off for now. And I'm trying to think if I need anything else. I think I don't think I need my red. So I'm going to close that and get it out of the way. We're going to move to my other favorite new color, the Secret Sea. Absolutely love this. This new in color. I'm hoping it stays, but I'm going to set the envelope aside, so hopefully I don't get it dirty again. So I'm going to take, this is the inside of the card, and I'm going to cheat because this set really doesn't have like inside type sentiments. So I'm pulling out an old one, and I don't know if I brought over, so I'm cheating. This is an old retired one, framed and festive, but I've been using it a lot because it's got some really fun sayings. But seriously, anything that you have at home, or if you have any of the current ones, I just didn't happen to have any of the current ones. I'm just going to stamp that down. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let me go ahead and clean that one off too. It sounds like a squeegee board on there. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the front since I have that out. So I'm using this one that I'm going to stamp on, and I might set a piece of, because this is white on white, sometimes it's a lot harder to stamp. So I like to use, like, I just use our piercing pads, but you could put a piece of cardstock under there. But this is kind of nice too because it's a foam pad, so makes it nice to stamp on. So I'm going to be stamping Merry and Bright. The and Bright is on one stamp. Ta-da! And then the Merry is on a separate one. I'm going to move this light because I know I'm going to hit it if I'm going to try to stamp. There we go. Let's see. So Merry, that might be a little close, but we're going to go with it. Merry and Bright. Okay, I think I've got all my pieces and parts stamped. I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And let's go ahead and assemble the rest of this. So we've got the base done. I might as well go ahead and stick the inside in. And that's just going to layer right into that center panel. And then the outside, before I layer this down, I'm going to take this little piece of ribbon. And what I like to do is just stick a little tack of adhesive behind there. I might stick a little in the center. And this wrap it. And I'm just centering it, basically. I'm not measuring. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Wrap it around. And then put some more adhesive on here. Oops. And we're going to put it down. Again, it's layered right into the center of this card. I'm going to pull this down, I think, so that hopefully I'm in the camera right there. All right. And then this piece, we're going to adhere. I'm just going to adhere it directly down. I can't remember what I did on my sample, but I think I'm going to adhere it straight down onto here because I want to pop up that Merry and Bright. So this one, I'm going to use dimensional them out here. Probably stick 2 on here. And we're just going to center that. And it's popped up a little bit. And then we're going to finish it off with that bow. So let's get these off of here. Again, I just used a little Post-it note just to hold those in place so I wouldn't lose them. And I'm going to have my pick tool here handy. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take glue dot. Sometimes when I have something that's really, really tiny like that, and the glue dots, even though they're small, they're still a little big. So what I like to do is take this, roll it out, and right there where the glue dot is, I'm going to cut it in half. And then take that pick tool, pull that glue dot off of there, and then I'm going to stick it on that square. That was like the center of the front of the bow. I know it's probably hard to see in the camera because I've got it kind of backwards. But then that's going to go right into the center of the bow. I don't know if it should go this way. I think I'm going to go that way. That looks good. And then that other one, the other half of the dot, I'm going to pull off. There we go. And then this is going to attach onto there. How cute is that? Let me pull it up. And it's so pretty with the bling. And then this, I can just use a regular glue dot, regular size then, to attach it to the card. And I'm just going to attach it right about here. Might have to move that a little bit. But there it is. Oh, it's gotten up under that ribbon, so I don't want to do that. There we go. Ah, it's so pretty. So there's that card finished. Number 1. I just, in person, it's so pretty with that foil on there and then the ribbon. And then have yourself a merry little Christmas or whatever sentiment you want to put on the inside. And then the matching envelope. How cute is that? All right, that was card number 1. Let's move on. Card number 2, we're going to be doing this one. And again, I got this idea straight out of the catalog. And I did the same thing on the envelope on this one. So let's go ahead and get that packet out. And pull this out. Oh. Make sure I got all the pieces and parts out of there. All right. So the pieces and parts on this one was a sheet of cardstock. This was 8.5 by 11 that I cut in half. So it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So the typical card base. And this is the lovely Secret Sea. Absolutely love this. So that's that. This is going to be layered on the inside, so it's 4 by 5 1/4. This is the cardstock that's on the outside, so it's 4 by 5 1/4 as well. And it's the one that has the plaid on the back. And then we have another layered piece that is going to be, let's see, I think it's 4 by 2 3/4. And then the piece of DSP is then going to be 3 3/4 by 2 1/2. That's going to layer. I've got another piece of DSP. When I cut this, I just cut like strips of 4 inches, and then, you know, it was 5 1/4, and then I cut another 3/4 inch. So 4 by 3/4 of an inch. And then this is out of the dies, the labels dies. And then these pieces are all out of the Christmas greenery. So I've got a couple leaves and another little leaf, a poinsettia there, and then the ribbon, which right now I've got it cut at about 11 inches, but we're going to trim it down once we put it on the card. So those are the pieces and parts. Let's go ahead and get started. This one I think I'm going to go ahead and start with stamping. I've got this card, or this piece, and we are going to stamp Happy Christmas on here. Let's see, where is my Christmas? I'm going to stamp that one. So we're going to be using, move this out of the way, again, Secret C. All right, Secret C. And I'm going to stamp up the word Christmas. I love this font on here. It's so pretty. There we go. Christmas. I'm going to go ahead and clean that off so I don't get that any. There we go. And then I'm doing Happy Christmas. You could also do Merry. That's the nice thing about having these separate. You could do whichever you wanted. So this one's going to say Happy Christmas. And then my other little pieces that I need to stamp, these two little pieces, usually I do stamp first and then die cut out, but I didn't really want to have to die cut online today, so I went ahead and cut these out. And I actually did this way for the class, and it worked really well. These were pretty easy to stamp, even though they were die cut out. I'm using Real Red and Old Olive, an old favorite. Oops. I'm trying not to get ink on me, but I don't know how well I'm succeeding. So here's the Real Red. Tricky part is making sure when you stamp this down that you've got it positioned the right way, and I have to get over top of it. So pardon me if my head gets in here. But having that dark behind there helps. There we go. Perfect. And then let's clean that off. We're going to use the little leaf. Let's pull this out, and I'm using that in the Old Olive, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going to line it up, get right on top of it, straight down and straight up. Ta-da! All right, cleaning up my stamps. Okay, I think I've got my pieces and parts, so let's get this baby put together. Let me go ahead. I'm going to peek on the inside to see what I did. Oh, okay. I don't need my Old Olive or my red. I do need my blue, so I'll leave that one out for the inside. So let's go ahead and put this together. I'm going to go ahead and do the front of the card here. Oh, let's make sure we got it going the right way, right? All right. This one's pretty easy. I'm starting with the easiest ones first, and the other ones, they're not difficult. They just take a little more time. I'm just going to layer this beautiful DSP on. Oops. I must not have cut that right. Oh, I cut it at 5 1/2. That's our typical card size, but it needs to be 5 1/4. So let me grab my paper cutter. This is going to be fun since I already have adhesive on here, so we'll see how this goes. 5 1/4. How many of you snagged a new paper cutter when they were on sale for the Black Friday? I know a number of my gals did. Okay. Back at it. This is just going to get layered. I did have the measurement at least written right. Like here, 4 by 5 1/4. I just didn't follow my own directions. All right, and then I'm going to layer the blue panel, the Secret C. When we first got it, I was like, well, we have Night of Navy. Why do we need Secret C? But it's so different. Like, it's so deeper and richer, and it almost reads as a really nice neutral. This is going to get layered. That's what's on the back side. Kind of a shame to cover up all that pretty foil, but I do love this pattern for this card. And again, this card I just took right out of the catalog. Okay, and then I'm using my ribbon, and I'm going to, let's see, it's going to go across here. So it looks like it's a little long. Let's go ahead and trim this side. I'm going to take it, I'm going to actually, to get that little tail, I'm going to fold this ribbon in half like this, and from the center and go out, and it gives me that nice fishtail like that. So let's see where this other side needs to go. I want it to go about there. So it kind of gives me an idea how much I need to cut off. And snip. Goes right off. Let's see how well we did. Oh, that's good. That's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive in the center here. And then actually on my ribbon, let's see, let's get this. Kind of want it to go about like that. So we're going to go ahead and attach it down. That's going to, I think that's going to work. Maybe this one down just a little bit more, so it's not quite as far away. There we go. I like that. I'm happy with that. And then what's going to help hold that down is we're going to put the sentiment down. And I'm actually going to load more dimensionals on here than I normally do, just because it's going to help hold that ribbon in place for me. And it's just going to get centered. Happy Christmas. And then, let's see. Okay, so these pieces I had cut out of the DSP, but I'm going to add a little bit of coloring to these. I'm going to take a sponge dauber. You could also take our blending brushes. Either one would work. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of brush the edges a little bit. Maybe not the whole thing, but the end here. Just to give it some dimension. If you can see that. I'm going to do the same thing to this one. And I think in my sample I left the centers of this in. But that was almost impossible to do with all the cards that I had to cut out for class. So this one, they're not left in. I cut them out. Or they came out with a die, I should say. All right. So these two pieces, I'm going to take my glue dots again, my handy dandy glue dots, absolutely love. And I just realized something I forgot to put on the other card was the bling. So I had to go back and do that. Okay. So I've got these, and they're going to come out from under here. I'm not going to push them down till I get that poinsettia on there, because then it still gives me a chance to kind of move them around a little bit. Oh, I might have messed up with that dimensional right there, but let's see. All right, I'm going to just leave it at that for now. Okay, and then this one, it's going to go right here. I'm actually going to stick... Let's see, I don't know which way I want to put this on. Maybe like that. I actually want to stick maybe a dimensional up on this side, but this side is going to be a glue dot. Let's see. Let's start with a glue dot. If I feel like I need to put a dimensional underneath there, I will. Oop. Okay. We'll do a glue dot right there. Yeah, see right there? Because these are down, I'm going to stick probably a mini dimensional under there, just to kind of stabilize that little guy. There. Okay. And then I still have this little guy. Again, I'm using glue dots, one of my favorite adhesives. I love all our adhesives, to be honest. And we're going to stick this, I don't know, I think I'll stick it up here this time. Just a nice little focal. I was trying to figure out what do I call this. Okay, so let's take some of these sequins, and I'm going to go with the gold for right in the center. It also has a stamp that you could stamp in the center of this, like with maybe gold ink. There we go. Ha! All right, and then something else is the bling to add to the rest of the card. So let's see. Let's add a little one there, or medium size, and a little one here. I'm using the blue that's in here. I love it because I don't know if you can tell, but there's some blues in this paper, so it just helps to pull that blues out. One up there. So that's the outside. Oh, I just love it. And then the inside, let's see, I don't think we stamped it yet, but remember this little strip that I cut? This is 3/4 by 4 inches, and I'm just gonna take that and put it right here on this end. It's kind of fun sometimes to take these little scraps that you have of DSP and decorate the inside of your card. Okay, and then the other thing, again, this sentiment, I couldn't help it. Since I was using Happy Christmas on here, I found an old retired set that said, Happy Christmas to all and to all a good night, and I had to use it. I think you'll forgive me, right? I'm going to stamp this to make sure this thing is mounted straight, since this is an old set. Okay. Happy Christmas to all and to all a good night. I love it. All right, and then we're just gonna put that on the inside of the card. And this one will be done. Let's make sure we put it in correctly. It's just layered right in there. Happy Christmas to all and to all good night. And there's so much going on this card, and I just love it. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna shut this ink pad so I do not get that all over the place. And I'm gonna pull over. I just had stamped that the same as I did the first card. So there's the second card. I know the one I just stamped for you, I forgot to add the bling, but this is my sample, I added it. So it's those little sequins, and that one I added the red, but you could do any of these colors on here. It's kind of nice that this is a clear sheet because you can kind of lay them down on here to see which one works best. So there's that one. Card 1 and 2. Let's move on to card 3. So this is card 3. So let's go ahead and get started on that one. I'm going to set that aside. I've got the packet. I'm using just, again, the same. I'm using, this one I'm actually using the thick white cardstock, but it's the 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. Let's go ahead and fold this and get it. That's ready. Got my envelope. All right, so pieces and parts for this one. This one, again, I ran through that folder. There, you can see that pattern. I just love it. That's going to get layered. And then I have, in my packet, I had this piece, which is 2.5 by 4 inches, right? 2.5 by, well, oh no, it is 2 and I'm sorry, it's 2 5/8 by 4 1/8. I did eighths because this one gets layered onto here. It's got a little tiny border. So this piece is 2.5 by 4. So this one's just like a tiny little border instead of the bigger border. So that's going to end up there. I've got another piece that I'm going to be stamping on. And then I've got piece of scrap, and I've got a banner that I had cut out, and I think that's it for now. Okay, so let's get started on this. Let's go ahead, I will go ahead and layer this since I've got it out here. Let's do that, and then we'll do our stamping. Oh, I'm loving this folder. Kind of sad all this is going. And it's got a tiny border too, instead of like the 1/8 or the, yeah, instead of the little 1/4 inch around, it's an 1/8, which ends up being like a 1/16 inch border around. But hopefully you can see that border or the pattern. It's so pretty. And then this one is just going to layer right on top of there. And this is Old Olive. Let's bring that back in. That's going to layer right in the center. So it's going to cover up like the center of that wreath. And then this white is also just going to layer right on top of there. Easy peasy, right? We do like easy peasy. So there's the card ready. And then now we're going to play. Now we're going to have some fun here. All right. I'm going to set this out of the way so I don't get any ink on it. All right. We're using our black Memento. ink, and I'm pulling in this image from the stamp set, from that Christmas greenery. I have a stamp over here I didn't clean, and it's almost put my hand right into it, so I'm going to clean it. Okay. I already have ink all over me, but all right. So this, I'm going to take, shaking you. I'm going to take it, I'm going to ink up this image with the black. Make sure that's inked really well. And then I'm going to take this, sorry if I'm in the camera, I'm just going to go straight down and straight up on this. It doesn't really have to be centered because we're going to die cut it out, but there, it's stamped nicely. And then I'm going to stamp this little piece. I'll show you why. I just need that center little flower there. And pull that off of there. And let me go ahead and clean this. And actually, since I've got it cleaned, I'm going to pull over the envelope for that card, since we're stamping this. And I'm going to use the Old Olive. And I'm going to ink that up. I don't need the whole image, just part of it. And I'm just going to stamp in this corner right here on the envelope with the Old Olive. Isn't that pretty? I love that, that stamp set. And the cool thing is there, and you'll see that on the next card, there's actually some DSP that has that same image on it. Okay, I do need my green out. I'm going to set my envelope aside, pull this back in. I need a couple more ink colors here. I've got my Old Olive, I need my Real Red, and I need Pretty and Pink. Believe it or not. Okay, and then let's pull over the images I need, the stamps I need. Here we go. So on this one, it's a little sprig. I'm just going to stamp right over top. Am I in the camera? Hopefully I am. There. Go ahead and clean that off. And then on this one, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to stamp it off a little bit before I stamp it down, just to make it a little lighter. But it fits right in there. And that's the nice thing about the photopolymer, that makes it really easy to do two-step stamping. Okay, clean that one off. I didn't clean it off very well. There we go. We're going to go to the pink. Some of these we can go, this one I actually don't need to stamp, but that one's full ink. And then I'm going to do one that's just stamped off. So it's lighter. I'm going to stamp this one off again. And then I'm going to do that again. And that just gives you like 3 different tones of the same color. So it looks like I used almost like 3 different colors. So there's that. And then, oh, I actually need to do this one too, which is why I really didn't need to do this one, because I'm going to cut it out and pop that one up, but kind of wanted to show you the 3 different variations there. Alrighty. And then last but not least is the ribbon. Real Red. I don't know if I'm in the camera. If not, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it close to me, even with the readers on. There we go. Ta-da! So there. So it really was quick coloring. Again, you could use color pencils, watercolor pencils. You could use our blending pens, markers. But this particular stamp set has images to do this 2-step stamping, which just makes it really quick and easy. So why not do that? All right. I'm going to set, I don't think I need, Let me look and see what I did on the inside of this card so I know what colors to leave out. Okay, I'm going to leave my red and green, but I'm going to put them out of the way here so I can show you what we're going to do with this. So then what I did with this, let me find my dies. So here's the dies. And here is the 2 dies that coordinate with this. And so it's awesome because it just wraps right around there. And I run it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And then the same with this one. This one lines up right perfectly on there. And I cut those out. And because I didn't want to take the time during class time, the video time to do that, I've already have them, the magic of TV here, I already have a couple of them cut out. Ta-da! So they were cut out. So I have those. And then last, I have this. Now, if you look at this card, this cut out a double banner, but the card is using a single banner. Okay, so I want to show you how I did that. And it looks a little tricky. And I have to actually remember how I did. Every time I do this, I have to remember how I did it. Okay. So what I did is I took this piece right here. I'm going to come up here, and hopefully I don't mess this up. And I cut down like this. And that released that one, if it cut enough. I'm kind of nervous now. So this is starting to form the banner, right? Then I took, I have to think here, make sure I do this right. Yes. Then I took this one and cut it right here, straight up. So I just cut that piece off. We're not using this. So I know this is not going to make sense at first, but I've got this piece here. So I'm going to make sure I cut this nice and even here. And this piece is going to layer right on top of that piece. And you might have to trim off like a little bit of this because the little shape is different. Luckily for the girls in my class yesterday, I did this ahead of time so they didn't have to worry about it. So now you can see it's like just one banner. So I'm just put adhesive on the end of this. And it attached right here. And it's seamless. You can't tell because that's where the die cut lines are. Let's see. So hopefully you can see that. So then it makes it one banner. Like I said, it took a little finagling and trial and error to figure it out, but once I did, I had it down. And so that's going to be the one banner. Then I took this stamp, which says Sending Love and Joy, inked up the Love and Joy part with Versamark, and did the gold embossing powder and embossed it, and voila. So I have a banner, and I have that beautiful Love and Joy in the gold, which goes perfectly with this whole suite. Those are my pieces and parts. Let's get back to the card. Let's bring it back over. So we've already put together the layers on the front. So now it's just a matter of putting them on here. I'm just going to use dimensionals. I keep moving them everywhere and throwing them, and I good thing I usually have a few sitting out. So I'm just going to stick some dimensionals on the back here to pop this focal point up, and it's just going to go right into the center of the card. And then this one I'm just going to pop up, actually I might use a mini right on top of that center flower, and you could pop any of them up or all of them if you wanted to. And then this Love and Joy, I'm actually going to put a dimensional in the center, and then I'm actually going to I'm going to double up these two on the end. Am I in the camera? Because this is already up one level, so I need to double up the ends and then leave just a single in the middle Did I take that off? I didn't. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So it kind of looks like this. Oops, sorry. So there's 2 on the ends and then just 1 in the middle. And then we're just going to run this right across here on this card. Love and joy. How fun is that? And then let's not forget our bling. I'm going with gold again on this one, I think. A pink would be nice, but this one doesn't have a pink in it. So, oops. Oh my heavens. So I'll put a couple down here, and we'll put one up here. So pretty. And then the inside of this one, let's do, this says love and joy, so I'm gonna use this, and I think I'm gonna do red. Again, this is out of an old retired one, but may this season be filled with peace and joy. And clean that off. And then I'm going to go ahead just to add some fun to this one. I'm going to bring in this little sprig again. And this set also has, all these are in the same set, has these little berries. I'm actually going to bring in, let's see, my pink. And I'll do, let's see. Can you see that? Pink, and then the red is the outline. Oh, now I got to line them up. We're going to guess. I did not do a very good job with that, but that's okay. Once I get these berries in here, or the greenery, I don't think you're going to notice. So let's do, I'm going to stamp in one, and then stamping off, and then stamp off again, maybe one that way. So there, just to add a little bit of interest to the inside of that. And then here's the front. Let me clean these off, and I'll pull the envelope over. That card is finished. Now, I have an idea of something else you could do. These don't want to clean. Okay, got those clean. If you have our Wink of Stella, which I absolutely love. Here we go. This also adds, it's like a little glitter pen, and you could add some Wink of Stella, maybe just to the flowers or wherever you wanted. I'm just going to add them to the blossoms. But I love the Wink of Stella because it's a way to add, maybe, I'm going to do it to the ribbon too. It's a way to add a little bit of sparkle and glitter, but not the mess of glitter. I don't know if you can even see that. No, maybe right there, a little bit of shimmer. So how fun. Let's pull the envelope back in. So there's card number 3. Very cute. Okay, moving right along. We are down to the last card. And that one is going to be this. Sending love and joy. So let's go ahead. I think I have an envelope with that. Oh, I did the same thing on this envelope. Is this. So it looks very similar to the last card we did, but there's a little difference here, a little trick. Let me pull over the pieces and parts and show you. Make sure I got everything out of there. Again, the cardstock. Actually, I had switched this. Let me grab a different one. I actually want this one to fold this way. So if I were doing the cards like I have been, it would be 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I call this hamburger bun. And then if I wanted to do it this way, where the card opens up this way, this is called hot dog. So it's cut. This would be the 8.5 by 11. So on this long 11, it's cut at 11 by 4 1/4, and then scored at 5.5. So a little bit different fold. But I think this fold works really well with this, with the arches that are on this. So it's going to open up this way. So we've got that. We've got a sheet of 4 by 5 1/4. And hopefully I actually cut this one right. I did. This is the back side. It's lovely. And I'll show you an alternative where we're using that back side, because that is sad to be covering up. Okay, I've got two ovals, or the arched. These are from the Everyday Arches cut out. I keep wanting to say ovals, but they're arches. We're going to use one for the front and one for the inside. And then out of my dies, I cut out these two pieces. This one is cut out of, and again, these are all in that same bundle. This is cut with Old Olive. This is cut with that gold foil. It's so pretty. And then what I did is, out of the Designer Series paper, let me pull over the sheet to show you. Oh, wrong sheet. Out of this sheet, you see all these. So what's wonderful is that this same die that we used on the last card fits, and you can cut out all these little bouquets of flowers. So some of them have all red, some of them have pink and red, some of them have blue and white, but it's wonderful. So what you do is you just kind of loosely trim this out, like with a pair of scissors, and then lay this down in your cutting emboss machine and cut that out. There's another sheet in the packet that also, this one has another die that works to cut these out. So it's really fun. Really fun. So I already did that to save some time. So I cut out this piece, but I wanted my bow, let me pull that card back in. I wanted my bow to be the blue instead of the red. So there was another one that I cut out. And sometimes you can just use like the little edges to do that, so you're not wasting a whole thing. So for example, how this one runs off the top, the bow was cut out of there. And then the top could be cut out of a piece that's from the bottom. So you can end up using all of it if you're a little selective with how you're cutting it out. So that's what I did. And then I went ahead and cut out of the pool party a banner. I left this one whole, used the Sending Love and Joy, and embossed that in the white this time. So I went ahead and did that ahead of time. So we got all our pieces and parts, and other than that, and the inside, the embossing, but the inside is the only stamping that we have to do. So let's go ahead and get this one, get this one put together. And I know you're sad I'm covering this beautiful red, but I will show you an alternative, I promise. But I think this is kind of nice, all this green and blue. It's a little softer colors. It could also be, you could use this as something other than just Christmas. It really could be a birthday card or even a thinking of you or sympathy card. I love these arches too. Just love. Just something different than just a typical layer, or a rectangle or circle or something like that. I don't know, it feels like it's inviting me in when I see that. So here we're gonna just kind of lay these out, and I'm gonna just tack a little adhesive on the back, and I'm just gonna kind of loosely lay these down till I figure out exactly my positioning of things. You could also just use liquid glue, because that would move around. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. And then what I'm going to do, this is going to pop up in the middle, but I'm going to go ahead and just cut that ribbon off of there, because you're not going to see it anyway. And then I might be able to use that then on a different card. So I'm just going to trim that out. So now I have a ribbon that I could use elsewhere. And this, I'm going to put dimensionals onto the back, because we're going to pop this part up. I have ink all over me already, girls. Crazy. I probably didn't need that many dimensionals, but why not? All right, and then I'm going to stick it probably about kind of see where this is. I think I'm gonna just kind of lightly set it down without gluing it down. And then this, I think, is gonna go right about there. And then, oh, I just realized I cut this out, but I wanted, hold on. I've got my scrap pack here somewhere. I wanted to leave the little sprigs on the bottom of that, and I forgot. Oh, here's my packet. Let's see if I have all these little pieces and parts of things that I've cut out of this already. Here we go. I've got a little sprig there. I think I cut that off of there, not meaning to, when I was prepping yesterday, so that's okay. We'll make this work. So that's there. This is going to go here. I'm going to have a little sprig down here. Actually, I think I want to move this down a little bit. That's why I didn't want to push it down too hard. So it's just a matter of laying it out to see how you want it to and then I think that's going to end up there. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense to you. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. I'm going to go ahead and take, I already had dimensionals on the back of this because I had, unfortunately, I had tore it when I cut it out. So to save it, I went ahead and put the dimensionals on to keep those pieces in there, and you'll never know. How will you know? And we're going to put that right about there, and no one's going to know that this wasn't initially, I think I lost my stickiness there, wasn't attached, or that doesn't go all the way through. So there. And then again, the bow is going to go right there. So I think I'm going to take I think we can get away with a mini dimensional, maybe. I still might have to cut that. It's such a tiny little space. But ta-da! All right. So does that make sense how I kind of piece that together to make it work? So it kind of looks like the illusion, it goes back behind, and then I've got the bow tagged on the front. But I love that. And then we've got to add our bling. And again, I'm using this blue because it's so pretty. I'm just using my scissors this time to pull this up, just because I had them right here. Let's put some there, and let's put one up in here. Ta-da! So that's the outside. It's so pretty. I wish you could see it in person. It really is. Okay, and then for the inside, what I want to do is we're going to do some stamping on the inside. I'm going to take, let's go find it, this stamp. And I think this time, I had stamped it in green before, but I think I want to stamp it in the blue this time. Let's grab that. This pull party, just to pull some of that blue inside the card. So let's ink that up. Oops, sorry. And then, oh, it's so pretty. I just love that. This stamp, this image is just so gorgeous. And then for the inside, sending love and joy, let's go ahead and go back to may this season be filled with peace and joy. We can do that. And we're going to do that one. I believe we'll do that in the green then. Okay. And again, this, just a reminder, this one is a retired, the inside verse is retired. Ah, I love it. I think I did the opposite before. And I like this one better. All right, so let's go ahead and put that in here. Any inside verse could be used on that, whatever stamps you have. And that's just going to get centered on the inside. And there is card 4. How pretty is that? I love it. Okay, I'm going to pull in all these cards real quick that we made today. Oh, let me close these ink pads because that's just an accident waiting to happen. when it comes to me, that's for sure. Hopefully I've got everything out of the frame here. All right, so let's see, we started with card number 1. Opens up, have yourself a merry little Christmas, with a lovely envelope for that. Then we went to card 2. I love this one. I love them all. Happy Christmas. And again, I used an old set that just said Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. That's so fun. I'm going to put that one here. Hopefully I can get all these in the frame. And then we went with this one where we stamped the whole thing and die cut it out. May this season be filled with, what's it say? Sorry. With peace and joy. And I have love and joy on the front. I don't know if I'm in the frame there. And then sending love and joy. And again, the same sentiment on the inside. But hopefully you can see all those. This was such a fun class. I really enjoyed it. Again, this whole suite has just been put onto the last chance list, which means it's available as supplies last. When I last look at it, I didn't look at it before I came on, unfortunately. I did look at it last night during class. The only thing that was unavailable was the paper, but it's coming back. That's coming back, even though it's on the last chance. They already probably had an order coming in. So that's going to be back the week of the 15th. So in a couple weeks, that'll be back. But the rest of it's last chance while supplies last. So if you love anything from this, I would jump on it right now. And I would double check too. When you look online, they're sold as a bundle, but sometimes the pieces of the bundle, so like the stamp set and the dies, are on sale, but the bundle isn't. Sometimes buying those separate, you actually get a better deal. So make sure you just double check that when you're purchasing, so you get the best deal. But let me go ahead and flip this around. Oh, hi, Amy. Thanks for watching. This was fun. I had so much fun sharing this class today, and so much fun. Yesterday I had a full studio for both classes, so that was fun to share these. Last class for the season. So initially I was trying to get all this done because I was supposed to have shoulder surgery scheduled on the 8th, which is Monday. Of course, then we're playing games with the insurance company. So it has been pushed back to possibly now the 17th. So sadly, I was really wanting to be done with it before then and on my way to recovery, but it looks like it might take a little longer, and who knows, insurance still might end up kicking it back. So we'll see how it goes. My hair is being really funky today. It's very fly away. I guess this weather, it's so dry out. So anyway, I'll keep you guys updated, but right now it's been put on hold. Hopefully the 17th, we shall see, But thanks for hopping in. And again, just a reminder that this entire suite is on the last chance list. So if you love it, grab it now before it's gone. The paper should be back in a couple weeks, that same week I have surgery. I think everything else is there. A lot of the pieces and parts of this suite has been in and out of stock, but I think it's all there. But anyway, this has been fun. Just a reminder that we started the product of the month, and it started December 2nd. And so the product of the month is, every month there's going to be a new product that is an exclusive. It's only available as a product of the month. And if you spend, once you have $75 in your cart, you can choose that product of the month for $5. And it's going to be different every month. So this month, it's this beautiful blue DSP. I put up some samples. So if you want to see, look, just go back in my, on the page and you can see. But that's available while supplies last. So that's there. You also earn rewards on what you purchase. You earn rewards on that $5 as well. All right, I think that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, and happy Christmas. and you spend it with family and friends, and know that you are loved and cherished. And it is really a wonderful time of the year. And hopefully, if you know someone that's struggling this time of year, because I say it's a wonderful time of the year, but it can be a lonely time of the year, maybe reach out to them and just let them know that you're thinking about them. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'll probably pop on and talk to you before the end of the year, but if not, we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.